Billy Joel sang in the 1980s a song about many issues, one of which is the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. This is basically like you and your siblings now all of a sudden have to share a bedroom. Your younger sibling thinks that this is theirs, even though it's yours, and your mom and dad say, no, you have to share. Basically, that's the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. It's two countries fighting over the same land. So let's take a look. So we've got the Middle East. The Middle East has a bunch of different countries in it, but they're really only fighting over this small, teeny tiny area right here. Who knew that such a small area could cause so many international problems? Let's take a look at why. Okay, so what we've got is we've got this area, the Middle East, still we're talking about this tiny area right here, that people are arguing over. Essentially, it looks like this when we look at it close up. The problem is there are three major areas that they're arguing over. They're arguing over the Gaza Strip, the West Bank, and Jerusalem. Jerusalem is their holy state. The West Bank is the part that goes off into the ocean that has a lot of the exports. And then the Gaza Strip is wealthy with all sorts of natural resources. So they've got all the good stuff. So I would say that would be like the door, the bathroom, and the closet, let's say. Okay, so that's not fair. So, why are they fighting? Well, according to TheGuardian.com in 1890, Nathan Birnbaum decided that the Jews had to have a nation of their own. They had to have their own state, because at that time they didn't have a state. They didn't have a country. They didn't have anything. And before we can really go into that, we've got to look at why. Well, if we look at Palestine as a country, we can see that Palestine is a place. It's a country. The Arabs are the people who live in Palestine. Islam is a religion. Muslims are the people who study that religion. But Palestine is not a nation. It's a nation, but it's not a race. Whereas with the Jews are a race, a nation, an ethnicity, and a culture. But they don't have a state like Palestine does. Palestine recognizes all sorts of religions, not just Muslim. Now, Jews, they have a religion, no place. So, after World War II, the Jews are dispersed all throughout Europe, especially because the World War II was about the Holocaust, right? So they have no place to go. The Jews, according to Huffington Post, are homeless and dispersed all throughout Europe. So what happens then? Well, what happens is the United Nations is formed, and in 1945, 50 countries of various nations, obviously, get together in San Francisco and decide they have to create some sort of government that will make sure that international law and foreign law stays safe, mostly because of this conflict, but other conflicts as well. So what happens is they create an armistice in Palestine, and they say, okay, well, you've got to share this amount of area. So your mom and dad come in and they say, this is yours, stop fighting. Well, we all know when behind that closed door, we know how that works. So Palestine loses over half of its land, but they still control the bathroom, the door, and the closet. So they're okay, but your younger sibling's still mad because they can't go to the bathroom, get their clothes, or leave. So this is a problem. So basically, the Arab nation, or Palestine, says, no, we're not going to recognize that. So your younger sibling throws a temper tantrum and takes over almost all of the area, just like a little kid would, right? So that's what Israel does, is they take over all of the area. However, guess who has control of the bathroom, the closet, and the door? That's right, you do, or Palestine in this case. So this is the loss of area that we have. Palestine, how it started before the UN. After the UN, when they declare armistice, Israel takes over, your sibling throws a temper tantrum. This is a dilemma. According to the Huffington Post, the reason is because we've got three major things. First, there are holy grounds in Jerusalem that belong to both Christians, Jews, and Muslims, and by letting other countries in there, you're letting them have access to that particular holy land. The second is whether or not to share it right down the middle, or just go, hey, you both have to figure out how to live here peaceably together. Figure it out. Can't you hear your parents saying that? And the last is that who belongs to Jerusalem? Who does Jerusalem belong to? Who does the Holy Land belong to? So whatever you consider the Holy Land, whether it is the door or whether it is the closet or if it's the bathroom, who owns that? And whoever owns that is the one who owns the actual city. Now imagine mom or dad come in and they say, okay, your younger sibling is the one who gets to have the bathroom. You have to ask for permission to use the bathroom. But your mom or dad don't have to live there. They don't have to live with it. You have to live with what they say. That mom or dad that just walked in, that would be Donald Trump coming in and saying, oh, you know what? Israel's national city is Jerusalem. How can a non-sanctioned, recognized Arab nation state, not considered Israel, have a national capital? In other words, how do you divide your room with your sibling, who, by the way, is young and kind of a brat, but really needs a place to stay and has no place and never really has, and they can't help it that they were born. So you should share as the older sibling, right?